Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to go ahead and talk about the patch notes. They're going to be formatted a little bit different. For whatever reason, they didn't direct us to a web page. They basically gave us a few different links, and then obviously once the update goes live, we'll do some testing on the brand new rifle as well as the brand new SMG, giving you some weapon stats. So if you're interested in any of that information, double check, make sure you are subscribed with notifications on. If you find the video helpful, make sure you hit the like button. I did want to give you guys a heads up about a brand new partnership. I've invested in an iOS app called 1v1me. And just like the name sounds, you can go head to head against other players in Call of Duty, whether it's to wager with money on the line or scrim just to get that competitive feel. It's super easy to get started and totally free. All you got to do is start the challenge, set up the rules, and you're pretty much good to go. You can do different things from free for all, or you can play with your buddies and get competitive that way. And anyone can get started with the $0 wagers to build your reputation on the app. If you're looking to play for money, you got to be 18 and over. The app is only available in the US right now, and the first 1,000 people that use my link, which is that 1v1.me/JGOD, will get $1 added to their account. It also helps if you go to the App Store and rate them 5 stars and leave a review. I'm really excited about the app and the features coming down the road. Welcome back. So one of the things that we will talk about here are the different things. So included in Season 5 patch notes, they gave a playlist update. So they have Rebirth Island, Mini Royale Trios, which is a little bit different. That means if you die, you're not going to necessarily come back, but it's going to be on Rebirth Island. They also added, they're removing the LTM payload, so they kept that in there for a little bit, and then they're keeping Resurgence quads and Blood Money quads, so they didn't really impact the normal mode for Season 5. When it comes to the rest of the stuff here, the new Battle Pass, all 100 tiers, basically, obviously you get enough, like 1,400 COD points if you complete it, obviously depending on your playtime. So you determine whether or not that's worth it. And then obviously you get the brand new skin once you get started on the battle pass. Hopefully you just have the COD points carried over. Included in this, we have new POIs, mobile broadcast stations, a new gulag, and redacted, which we'll go ahead and talk a little bit about. So these POIs can be found in a variety of different locations of Verdansk, differing from match to match, to keep one area from being signal boosted by rewards. See what they're all about by going closer to them, but be sure to keep your head and tune out of the broadcast each emits. So I'm sure those are going to be some interesting things. It's good that they're in different parts of the map. And I wonder if there's like 8 designated locations like Bertha spawns, for example, and then they kind of relocate them and move them around. Then it says blank has gone off the grid and report suggests blank is doing blank in Verdansk. So this is obviously a character. What we do not know is that an unauthorized blank that could jeopardize our blank in discovering stopping Stitch. So that's lore stuff, not really that big a deal. I'm pretty sure maybe there's going to be redacted parts of the map that maybe you can land, because it says points of interest and it leaves that redacted part. So maybe there's going to be missions associated with that. We got the new Gulag Rush, which is the classic BO2 map. And then they've also brought it back in Cold War. So now we're going to have that pretty symmetric layout. We'll kind of see how it plays depending on how much space they give. And then red doors, beware of these red doors sending you to unexpected locations other than the main room. This may have something to do with those mobile broadcast stations seen around the map. There was kind of leak stuff around this that potentially you could be just like kicked out into the air or some other random spots. So this will be pretty interesting to see how this impacts gameplay when it comes to the red doors. In terms of gameplay, it says loot spawns across Verdansk have been adjusted as follows. It says new gulag and in-game lobby loadouts. The sentry gun kill streak can now be found in supply boxes, so it's going to be more common. The Tech 9 and the EM2 have been added to the loot pool, so they're just going to be ground loot. You'll be able to level them up pretty organically before you actually reach those individual tiers. Players can now detach from Ascender before reaching their destination. So this is something we tweeted out a while back. As far as the Cold War engine, when you do zip up, you could just jump off at any time. Obviously, be wary if you're too high. You're going to want to deploy your parachute so you don't splat into the ground. Perks added. We got the Combat Scout, which is slot 3. That's actually a pretty interesting one. The damaging an enemy briefly highlights and automatically pings them. Sounds a little bit crazy. I think this could be good, especially if you're playing like Rebirth to get a ghost loadout off the rip with the Psychov, and then you use a primary long-range weapon, and then you go and pick. And the reason why I say pistols, because without amped, your weapon swap time is pretty slow. So it's going to really depend on playstyle, how effective this perk's going to be for you, and that penalty of not having amped. And then we have tempered, which is armor plates are reinforced and now absorb 75 damage instead of 50, but you're only allowed to have 2 plates for the operator to be considered fully armored. Adjusted, cold-blooded. Perk 1, undetected by AI systems and thermal optics, does not trigger high alert warning and negates Combat Scout. This change only applies to Warzone. So this one, they changed it. Negates Combat Scout. So they added this cold-blooded is a way to counter this perk. I was like, what did they change? They basically added that last part. They still didn't mention anything about the Dead Silence change that was supposed to be for high alert. So I wonder if that took effect, and that's something we'll have to test, but we'll get to that point. Various bug fixes, because there are a lot. So now when you actually pick up an armor box, it's going to be very distinguishable. Even though it was fairly easy to tell the difference between an armor and a munitions just by looking at the icon, now you're going to see it like this instead of like this, where it looks very similar to the munitions. They're also adding a steady aim behavior to be toggled instead of hold for controller and keyboard and mouse. I don't really see this as a thing. I've always been used to it a certain way, but I guess if you have a preference towards pressing in it and then let it hold the breath automatically, maybe you bind it so that when you aim down sight, you'd automatically hold your breath at the same time. I don't know. That's kind of how that would work, but basically it's only when you're zoomed in, you would just press that. That's kind of how it goes. So now you have the option to hold or toggle, and it's generally on hold by default. So new weapons, we have the EM2, which is an assault rifle that's available right away. A full assault rifle, a heavy British rifle with considerable kick and built-in low zoom optics. So that's kind of interesting, because then you can save an attachment, but it says low zoom, so it's probably like a 2x or a 1x, maybe a reflex sight, which will be kind of interesting. Slow rate of fire and high damage, which makes the EM2 a solid choice for skilled marksmen. So maybe it's going to be very similar to the Odin. I know a lot of people have been referencing that. Obtain the EM2 for free at tier 15. So that's going to be the first one you're going to unlock. And then we have the Tech 9, which is a semi-automatic machine gun. Improved accuracy for longer ranges with low recoil. A lot of times semi-autos tend to do that, especially if they're not high damage like this thing. Like for long range, you know, like a sniper, or like the EM2 is supposed to have high recoil. Slow rate of fire, good damage output, and moderate range. And moderate range, a lot of times that means it's going to be probably out to like 17 meters as an SMG, maybe further, but who knows? And then you're going to get this for free at tier 31. And then you get the Cane in season and the Marshall handgun in season later on, which you'll be able to buy those with the challenge, or buy those in store or complete a challenge. New unlock challenges, because we're transitioning. The MG and the C58 are no longer completed by just going through tiers or whatever. So you have to do challenges here. 3 or more kills enemy without reloading in 15 different completed matches. And then using assault rifle, get long shot kill in 15 different matches. So pretty straightforward there. It looks like these are the only changes, maybe to weapons. We got the amp. They buffed the ammo type for pretty much all of them. They buffed it by 5 across the board. Maybe 7 for this fast mag one, so that could be maybe a go-to, because one of the biggest things with the amp is, even though it's close range TTK as a secondary SMG, like a non overkill class, it was pretty solid, especially after the buff. The side cop just gave you way more ammo, so it became a little bit easier to use. I think in this particular scenario, it's one of those things where it actually might be one of those ghost loadout type of things where you grab that off the rip instead of getting overkill loadout. Maybe the 7 bullets is enough where you're going to be able to down 2 players, get a quick reload in, and then keep going. Especially with a lot of times the faster reload, usually you're worried about slowing down your aim down sight. But with the pistols and SMGs, it's usually not as big a deal, because they usually aim down sight pretty dang fast. So we'll see how this impacts movement, because it doesn't look like they changed any of that type of stuff from this particular sheet. Below are the details of the download and upload. For PlayStation 5, 13, 4, 13, 13, 13, and then for PC, it's going to be around 20 gigabytes, regardless if you have Modern Warfare or just Warzone by itself. I'm a little bit disappointed. There's not much in here, which is good. I don't have to test a bunch of stuff besides the other weapons. I still got to update my spreadsheet, because there were some newfound things where now the Milano actually matches the update from last season. They kind of stealth changed it to actually match the patch notes at whatever point, but we'll get to that at a later time. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video, learned something new. If you did, please do me a favor, hit the like button. If you're brand new, want to find your way back, double check, make sure you are subscribed with notifications on. Appreciate all the support. Thank you for watching. As always, have a great day.